The Charlotte Pudding leader in OP08 has the best of both worlds in terms of purple ramping and yellow amazing triggers. Hear how the deck is played. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Mobby, and as mentioned, we're going to go over how the Charlotte Pudding leader plays with the deck. That is a companion video, link down below to see the full deck breakdown. In this particular video, we're just going to go over how exactly each card is going to be played, likely scenarios, your overall game plan, etc. So let's start with the leader, then we'll go over to the early game. So Charlotte Pudding, OP08, 5000 power, 4 life, purple and yellow. The ability is as follows. When you attack, you may turn 2 cards from the top of your life cards face up. Then you can add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it, so it has some life manipulation so you can see exactly what's coming up. But on the side note, your opponent also sees what's coming up, but I think it plays in your favor more because you do have ways in this deck to manipulate it. For example, the top cards of your deck, though you do get to ramp up, yeah, it might be a trigger that they can play around, but they still have to play around it. If it's a 0 cost counter or something you just don't want there, you can go ahead and add it to your hand in various ways. So the cost here is when attacking. This is pretty good because you're not wasting any resources, etc. for, like, you know, discarding a card or losing a life. It's simply when attacking. It's not during main, which would be much more preferred. It's when attacking, so that means you have to play around it after you're able to put more life cards face down to use this. Now, realistically, you're probably going to be using the ability once or twice, but being able to just get your 9 drops or 10 drops faster than your opponent is really good. So let's talk about the early game. What do you want to see in your deck? What do you want to mulligan for? So the first thing you want to see is these are your 8 searching cards. You have Charlotte Puddings and you have We're Going to Claim the One Piece. Now both of these, this searches for Big Moms and Sanjis. This one searches for Animal Kingdoms and Big Moms. This is 4 cards and a body. This is 5 cards and a trigger, which activates the main effect. You want to see as many of these as you can because the biggest thing that you want to search for, Big Mom wise, is you want to set up for the middle game. So basically the best card that you want to grab from those is going to be your Charlotte Katakuri, which is going to help you ramp again. If you end up getting a couple of your late game cards, you might want to just mulligan again, because if you have them in your hand, it doesn't matter. You need to ramp up. You want to use your ability at least once or twice. So that's why you grab all these. And if you start with a couple of violas, with 1 or 2 violas or 1 or 2 categories, you keep those. Those are your main ways of actually ramping up, and we'll talk about them in a bit. So once again, the searching cards, you want to find categories, and if you already have your key pieces like viola and your Edward Newgate, etc., then yeah, if you have an okay hand that'll let you survive a little bit longer, then you can start grabbing the 9 drop Big Moms and the 10 drop Big Moms. So whether or not you're going first or second, you want to find these. Then on your second turn, when you can actually attack, this is when you want to play your violas. So unfortunately, this is not searchable. It's not a trigger, but it really helps out your abilities. Remember, the cost is turning 2 cards top face up. So your violas will help you remedy that situation, so you can use it the next turn after that. So 201, it has innate blocker on play. You can look on all of your opponent's life cards and place them back in your life in any order. You want to use this late game if you don't have anything else to play. You usually want to play your categories, your Newgates, and your Big Moms later, but if you just really need another blocker, you can use the first effect to mess with their life and see what's coming up. Otherwise, you turn all of your life cards face down. So if you think about it, your turn 1, you're searching just for whatever you need. Turn 2, you can finally attack whether or not you have 3 or 4 Dawn. So you're going to be attacking with Charlotte Pudding, putting those face up, and then with the rest of your Dawn, which is going to be like, 2 left, you go ahead and play this. You have a block on the field, and all of her stuff is face up again for you to use this. Then the next turn, if you went first, you're going to have... So if you go first, then you have 1 Dawn to search. Next turn, you have 3 Dawn. You attack, you ramp up to 4 Dawn. Next turn, you're going to have 5, 6, which is the perfect number to use these Edward Newgates and categories. If you go second, you're going to have 4 Dawn for that turn to attack, then go to 5, 6, 7, which is still the perfect number for these. And then the next turn, you can ramp up once more and get 9 and 10 drops. Pretty much that is it. First turn, searching. Second turn, ramp up. Third turn, ramp up. 4, 5. This is where you drop your 9 drops and your 10 drops, and then you try to do as much as you can. This thing is going quick and going fast. Now let's move over to the mid section, the early game, the middle. So this is when you have 6 drops. or 6 or 7 counters. So you will have Charlotte Katakuri here. So 671, you may turn the top card of your life card face down. So this works out after you use your ability. You can attack, turn him down, ramp up, then do this one to ramp up again and set it as active. So you might be able to do 2 at once. So if you're exactly at 6, you're gonna go 7, 8, 9, 10. It's going to be free, and then 9, 10 for your next turn. So this is really good. It has a counter 2, a decent body, a little expensive, but it is a rare. So, you know, they knew what they were doing with this. It's just a little segue card to get you through. So this is your big searching, your mid-game searching. Next off, if you find one of these in your hand, this is another good, because you're not going to get this every single time. That's why we have 8 of these sort of mid-game cards for you to use, which is Edward Newgate from ST13671 on play. Add the top card of your life to your, add the top card of your deck to your life card. So you're going to go ahead and put one face down. Then look at all of your cards, place one back to the top. Yeah, and the cards that you want to put back up are things you don't want to trigger. You know, maybe some of these cards that you want to draw next turn that are dead over there, etc. Then the important thing here is you're going to be returning every single one of them back on your thing in the remaining order. Now, it doesn't say you have to put them back face up or down. They stay the same. So any card that was face up, they have to stay face up, but now you can rearrange them and put them around. Another really good thing is to put the you should disappear. That's an amazing trigger for you to get by all the way to the bottom. Otherwise, you can do stuff like your Brulees to set up on the bottom, these other Brulees for messing with there, and then, of course, your Capone Gang Beja. So this is a super, super powerful card. So this one has the benefit, the Katakuri, has the benefit of being searched, and you can ramp up easy peasy. This one, though, it doesn't let you ramp up, but it allows you to use your leader ability to ramp up, but it's not a double ramp up, but it allows you to mess with your life cards and moving them around. So really amazing cards, both amazing to just, you know, have as your mid game. All right, now for your late game, there are 12 late game cards. There are 4 9-drop Big Moms, which came out in OP08. Let's talk about it. So 990 on play -1 Dawn, which really doesn't matter if you already have 9 or 10 Dawn. Then you trash one card in your hand. There's a lot of 0 cost counters, so you can trash one of these, or your early game searchers, or honestly, you're probably never going to be using any more of these. So if you end up finding these, you can go ahead and trash them as well, even though they are 1k counter. Just really depends on the situation. Then you can add one card from the top of your deck to your life card, so you're healing right away. It comes in face down, so you don't know where it is. And then you add up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less to the top or bottom of their life cards face up. So it really depends on the situation here, on which of your opponent's cards you throw back and which ones you want to put on top. Obviously, you don't want to give them searchers back. You don't want to give them amazing triggers back. You do, however, want to put like really just cards that don't have good on plays. If they don't have a good on play, you can probably put them at the very, very bottom, so they're useless. If you don't mind them playing it again, put it on top to give it back right away. But then again, they have to use more resources to play it again. So this is good if you go first or second and you just don't get the exact ramp you want to hit 10, but you have 9 here, which is really good. Next off, we have the all-encompassing amazing Linland from OP03 10-12-0 on play. If your leader is Big Mom, you add up to 1 from the top of your deck of life cards, then trash 1. It's just so much value. I mean, obviously, this doesn't do anything to the board states. So if you play this a little bit later than the intended turn 4 or turn 5, your opponent might have an amazing board, which it doesn't matter if you heal and you trash 1, you play full 10, and then your opponent just has a turn to do stuff. This is a little scary, so that's why it's like really good, I think, in Pudding, like amazing in Pudding, because you will be able to play this a turn earlier, 1 turn or 2 turns earlier, so your opponent won't be able to set up, and then they're gonna have to deal with this body, either using a million resources to get this down to KO it or remove it, or they just red rocket, or 12,000 power, which is very, very crazy. Now, the awesome thing about this card is it heals you and messes with them, so even if you don't do anything the following turn, just play more of these. If your opponent sees this thing being played 2, 3 times in a game, it's gonna be freaking over. It's amazing. And then your final late game, just because like you do have good late games. You know, you have the 9-drop Big Moms, the 10 drops, and we're not using the 7 drops because on your 5, 6, 7, 8 turns you want to play the Katakuris or the new gates. It's just everything here is set up to play the 9 and 10 drops. And then finally you have your ace here, right? So this is from OP07. This is not a searching card, but once again, you just need more really good late game cards that mess with your life. And this one has another cool ability which gives you rush 10-10-0 on play. You heal no matter what. Then if you have 2 or less life, this character gains rush, so it's good for clearing the board. Just another healer, not searching, but it's really good. So that's your late game. So once again, to reiterate, early game, you just want to mulligan and hopefully you get violas and katakuris. That's your best ones to get. If you find these, you grab them. Prioritize violas first because this will help you ramp up the most. So that's why these searching cards are here. Late game, mid game, you got your katakuris and your new gates. This is the only cards you want to play to ramp up and mess with your life. Now let's talk about the other cards in the deck and how they're going to play. So basically you have You're the One Who Should Disappear. You should play this game. You should play this card. Very late game, you really don't want to play it ever if you don't have to, but you're going to have a lot of extra 0 cost counters, so you can play the super late game. If you see it in your life, as much as possible, put it to the very bottom. You know, this is one of the best cards to do that, so you can put it there so you can go ahead, you know, when they attack you, you get to add 1 card and then trash one. Very, very good. That's why they're in here. Next you have your Charlotte Pudding, which is one of your 2Ks in the deck, 1/1/2. So basically when you want to play this is like good ways and bad ways. I think this is one of the really good decks to play it. So for example, if you did not get your viola and you want to maybe try to use your leader ability again, you can go ahead and add the top or bottom from your life to your hand. Now it's really cool. It's really cool too, because even if you use this to put like some bad cards to the top or bottom, the 0 cost counters, etc., you can use this to grab it and draw another card. So you are losing a 2K in that regard, but if you are somehow setting up the perfect trigger for the next turn or the final turn, this will help you do that. And it's a searchable 2K, which is great. Brutally, this is a card not a lot of people like to run in their yellow decks, but in big mom pirates, especially ones where you're trying to rely and mess with your triggers, I think this is just really good. It has helped me win so many games. 3/1/1 in a blocker trigger, play this card. So if you find this, you're usually never going to play it. It's going to be a 1 cost counter. At the best case scenario, it's going to be a trigger to, you know, hopefully help you live another turn or two. This is another 2K which came out in ST20, so 3/3/2. It's really nothing in your hand, but how the trigger is really good if it hits. You look up to 1 of your cards from you or your opponent's life, place it at the top or bottom. Once again, it can help you enable this, or if you can see what it is, maybe you're lucky and you find another Charlotte Pudding or something like that, you can mess with the trigger, put it top or bottom. So really good too. Then we have the last card of the deck, which is going to be Capone Gang Beige. This is just a staple in yellows. It's a really good card to add in OP04 3/3/2. Trigger, add up to 1 of your opponent's leaders or characters cannot attack. So the good thing about this deck is you go quick, you go fast, you have a lot of triggers level, you have a lot of defense, right? You have 8 forward of blockers, you have a really consistent amount of rampers for your mid game, and then a really good late game. The weaknesses, you're not really interacting with your opponent's board in that way, meaning you know, you're not destroying stuff, you're not removing things, you're not rushing them down, you're kind of playing your own game, and you know the way you're interacting is with triggers when they attack, so it kind of works in that regard. But other than that, I think this deck is pretty good as long as they just don't completely rush you down, and even if they try to do, once again, you have your lucky triggers to help you out. But yeah, then now you guys know how this deck is piloted via Viola, Searchers early, Katakuri, and these guys, and then these guys late game. And then, you know, if you have multiples, you just get to choose which one you want, and then it really depends. So yep, it's a pretty simple game plan. Just ramp and destroy. That is it. So once again, if you guys want to see the full breakdown of all the stats and how the things work, link down below to see this deck in action. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.